और आप सबको हार्दिक बधाई। मैं इस कार्यक्रम हम मैं कर्नल तेज टिकू जी से आग्रह करूंगा कि इस कार्यक्रम का संयोजन आप करें और आगे बढ़ाइए इस कार्यक्रम को।
Thank you very much, Utpalji. I firstly welcome all of you to this very, very significant webinar on, I would say, one of the world's greatest warrior statesmen, Lalitaditya. Before we proceed with our description of the great emperor, I will briefly introduce the panel today. First is Utpalji. I know that most people would be knowing him. He has been a great Kashmiri Pandit activist, both at Jammu as well as in the NCR, for the last about 32 years, which coincides with our forced displacement from Kashmir. And I would say that he has been involved in every protest, every movement, every initiative that displaced community took after leaving Kashmir. Be it the most significant event of the early 90s when Marg Darshan resolution was passed by Jammu Kashmir, and thereafter activities which involved taking care of a large number of smaller issues and big issues which Kashmiri Pandits had to fight for, both at Jammu and Kashmir as also in New Delhi. So he is not new to activism and is one of our most leading Kashmiri Pandit faces as far as our conveying our troubles to the government and the whole of the country, but whole of the world is concerned. There is one aspect of Utpalji's work which I want to project to the world and to those who are listening in today. Utpalji is one aspect has totally been overshadowed by his Kashmiri Pandit activism, and that is his publishing house, Utpal Publications. And if you cannot get a book on Kashmir from Utpal Publication, you should consider that it doesn't exist. And his enormous amount of work in distributing literature on Kashmir, particularly Neelmat Puran, Raj Tarangani, works on Alded, Kashmir Shaivism. He has ensured that it reaches thousands of families, not just in India, but rest of the world. And what's most important about Utpalji is that he always has a bright smile on his face, and his smile actually is so captivating that even if you don't agree with him, perforce you have to say yes to what he says. We come to Ajay ji. Ajay ji is also, you can see, one thing I have always been touched by Ajay ji is that he is a very, very optimistic person. I have rarely come across a person who exudes warmth, who exudes optimism, who exudes brightness, and who has a very, 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 I would say, a glow in his face, which is so pious in its very demeanor. And Ajay ji also, I mean, as far as I know, whenever there has been some program in Delhi, whenever there has been a protest, whenever there has been meeting with higher ups, taking up the cases of Kashmiri Pandits, diaspora, at various government level and otherwise, he has been always in the forefront. And I think some of you will remember that a few years back, we had a massive, Sahishta Satabadi, 1,000 years of our great Guru. I'm forgetting name, Bharti ji.
Abhinav Gupta.
Abhinav Gupta, Acharya Abhinav Gupta, and Abhinav Gupta, like most Kashmiri Pandit icons, most Kashmiri icons, they were not known to the world. And whereas some countries have gone far ahead in research on their philosophy, but unfortunately in India, they remain hidden from not just common masses, even from experts and researchers. And Abhinav Gupta's work that he did and introduced in the whole world was a tremendous success. And I know because we were involved at some stage with it, and we know the enormous amount of work that Ajay put in. Later, subsequent to that, he was a former member of the Legislative Council of erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir state. Then it got broken, Legislative Council got dissolved. But he was one of our rare representatives along with Surendra Amardarji. I welcome you, Ajayji, and you are a young, dynamic person, and we look forward to your contribution in rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pandits in Kashmir in a big way. And we know that you are doing a tremendous job in Jammu. Dr. Surinder Kaul, as you know, is a spirit, and in fact a moving spirit behind global Kashmiri Pandit diaspora, which is a civil movement. And one thing, because I have myself been involved with GKPD in its earlier stages when it was being formed, it's a brilliant idea, because I have always felt that Kashmiri Pandits living outside India is a huge number now, and we have our large number of youth which is spread all over the world, and they have a stake in whatever happens to displaced Kashmiri Pandits, because essentially they are also displaced. Therefore, it's a very good initiative, and sometimes I wonder how does he manage to keep his cool, because he's so persistent, he's so wedded to that concept. At the end of the day, it all works. Everyone is working towards taking Kashmiri Pandits back with dignity and honor to Kashmir. And Surendraji has played a very, very significant role in that. And continues to play, and he comes to India, goes to various places, and there are issues involved. I mean, I as head of the All India Kashmiri Samaj had issues with GKPD, but at the end of the day, I mean, I see that unless Kashmiri Pandits in the whole world come on a platform, at least agree on basics, and I can assure you there are hardly any disagreements on 99% of issues. To that extent, I think it's a great initiative, and Dr. Surinder Kaul is doing a wonderful job. I don't know where he gets all the time that he's working on a Sunday also. You can see him dressed in a surgeon's attire. I wish you all the best, Dr. Saab, and I welcome you to this very, very important webinar. Now, coming to today's topic. Now, let me tell you one thing. When I was a young kid in Kashmir, I heard about Lalita Aditya Mukta Pida, but I am afraid I don't think we were ever exposed to his greatness. A couple of years back, in fact, 2018, I had been, along with Utpal ji, I had been tasked by Deen Dayal Research Institute to write something on Lalita Aditya, and I remember it was with great difficulty that I managed to get material on him, because there is hardly any material available except for something written by Orelstein and Kalan the Great, a great historian. I will open my this little introduction to him by reading the first para of the article that I had written, because this just about sums up Lalita Aditya's one aspect of his personality. It says Lalita Aditya of Karkota dynasty rose to power in 724 Christian era. During his long rule of 37 years, between 724 to 761, he established himself among the greatest soldier statesmen of all time. While presiding over his vast empire, he took it to unprecedented heights of prosperity and influence, giving a flip to art, culture, architecture, literature. Well-being of his people remained his lifelong passion. Though a Shaivite himself, he was sympathetic to the philosophy of Buddha, whose influence in Kashmir at that time was substantial. For a nation, please remember this. This is the most important aspect of Lalita Ditya's character, his contribution. And you know, at the highest level, nothing happens by mere coincidence. You must have recently observed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during his address to the Combined Commanders Conference, which was held in Kevadia in Gujarat, he made some of the most significant statements as far as national security and our armed forces are concerned. And he said that rather than looking towards the West, let us examine our own doctrines, war doctrines, and see where we can learn from it. And in that context, I would like to quote what I had written about Lalita Ditya at that time. And please remember this, what I had written, and this is very, very important. For a nation which historically and rarely expanded beyond its territorial boundaries, Lalita Ditya was an exception. We haven't heard of any king. You know, we take pride in the fact that Indians have never gone out and invaded anybody. But at the same time, whereas it has been a boon in some respect, but in large number of cases, it has been our great weakness. We will come to that a little later. Now, we know that Lalita Ditya was the greatest, I think, greatest of the Kurkota dynasty emperors. How did they come? Where did they come from? Who were they? And how did he manage to go reach where he reached? For years, for decades, Nagavanshi Kurkota castes used to form an extremely important part of Kashmir king's armies. And this was happening for many, many years before Kurkota dynasty came. And one of their greatest soldiers, his name is Durlab Vardhana. Durlab Vardhana was an exceptionally brilliant general. And his work as the general of the army was so good that he married the emperor's daughter. And this is where the connection between the kingdom and Kurkota dynasty started, and eventually it led to Lalita Ditya becoming a king. Now, sometimes I wonder, I mean, does God have a plan in place? Because when his father, when Lalita Ditya's father, who was grandson of Durlab Vardhana, when he died, Lalita Ditya had two elder brothers. And both those elder brothers, one died very young. He ruled for 7 years and he suddenly passed away. And the younger brother took over because that was his turn now. When he took over, he proved to be not worthy of Kurkota dynasty. And he was not courageous. His administration was pathetic, and God intervened and he died very young after ruling for 18 months. And that is how Lalita Ditya came to power at the age of 20. And he was born, somewhere in the turn of 8th century, maybe around 80, because he was only 20 when he took over the reins of power. Now, what was the state of affairs when he took over? Large parts of the area, Durlab Vardhana's time itself had seen significant accession of certain areas which were close to Kashmir, like Hazara, parts of western parts of eastern Afghanistan, Takshila, and such areas were already part of this. But the two greatest challenges that Lalita Ditya faced were, firstly, that there was a rebellion from Bhutias from Ladakh against Kashmir. And Bhutias of Ladakh were under the suzerainty of Tibetans. And Tibetans were so powerful that they were even threatening Chinese, the Tang dynasty which was ruling at that time. Therefore, he had to do something about it. But the more vicious threat was from south. In 712, Muhammad bin Qasim had already captured Sindh. And then by the time Emperor Lalita Ditya came to power, Junaid, who had been appointed in his place as the governor, he was pushing north. So what does he do? So he had twin challenges. One was to suppress the rebellion in Kashmir from the Bhutias, from the north. And second was to ensure that Junaid's threat does not get materialized. And this is where what he did is something extremely significant. Most of the time, Indians have waited for conquerors to come and hit them in their own area. And this has continued. You please take your mind back for 30 years till Balakot strike. Indians have waited for Pakistan-sponsored militants to get inside Kashmir, and then we fight there on our territory. When the militants, that I have myself been involved in so many encounters, when militants die, Pakistan says they are not ours because they died on Indian territory. All the trouble is in India. Kashmiris die. Kashmiris get displaced. Our soldiers die. But in our territory, it is only when Balakot strike took place, perhaps a leaf was taken out of Lalita Ditya's strategy that you don't fight on your territory. If somebody is coming to you, go and meet him outside. And this is what he did. He captured parts of, he went outside Kashmir, occupied parts of present-day Punjab and Haryana, and ensured that the Arab forces do not reach anywhere near Kashmir. Now, this is a long history. I have many other speakers to speak on. I will not take more time. His list of his tips of conquest is vast. And you will be amazed that the kind of territory Lalita Ditya had was so vast that perhaps Napoleon at some time and Alexander obviously did not have that kind of territory under their control at any time. You know, during his time, during his grandfather's time, Vikramaditya was ruling vast tracts of territory, which is today present-day Jharkhand, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and some parts of Bengal, right till there from Ujjain. And by the time it was turn of Lalita Ditya to ascend to the throne, the Arabs were now trying to push towards the west, because north they could not come, they couldn't make much headway, so they wanted to push towards the east and get hold of these territories. And Lalita Ditya realized the danger of this. He entered into a treaty with the king at that time from Ujjain, and ensured that their treaty, they joined forces together, and they did not, the Arabs could not go beyond where they had been stationed in Sindh. And that's how he prevented India falling into their hands, leave alone Kashmir. Kashmir was so far off. In the meantime, he suppressed the rebellions of Bhutias also by entering into some kind of a treaty with Tang dynasty in China. Though Tang dynasty did not give him much support, but because they were themselves involved in suppressing the rebellion in Xinjiang area at that time. Another great thing I would say about Lalita Ditya was that, you know, because he was trustworthy, people trusted him. And he ensured that one of his greatest generals was Kan Kunia, who was a great general of the Chinese army. But by the time Lalita Aditya came to power, Chinese Tang dynasty was on a decline. So he immediately took hold of the opportunity and ensured that his large number of his troops come and join his forces. I will just tell you another aspect of by the time Utpalji and others have to speak. By the time Lalita Aditya passed away, and his death is also covered in great mystery because the Kalhana has written something and many others have written something. But one thing on both agree that he died during a campaign. Some say that he died during a campaign in Arankia, that is Iran, and some say that he died during a campaign in Xinjiang. They were going through a very steep ridge, and they got separated from the main column, and the snowstorm came, and they did not want to fall into the hands of the enemy forces, and Lalita Aditya and all his troops committed suicide. One exactly doesn't know because, as I said at the beginning of my talk, that not much has been researched about Lalita Aditya because not much is really available on it. Other thing is, Lalita Aditya was a great architect. And in those days, what used to happen was that whenever you registered a massive victory, you made a town in the name of that victory. He made many towns. There are Pushkar and all those places, Latpura, Lalitapur, it's called Latpura now. But the biggest of them was Parihaspura. And Parihaspura was made at the confluence of Sindh and Jhelum. And it was a most delicately and cautiously selected piece of land from where you had the bird's eye view of the complete ring of mountains that surrounded Kashmir Valley, its snowy peaks, and it was a fabulous kind of a city in which he spent, although he was most of the time out campaigning, but his people were such that he ensured that he made a huge series of temples. How Parihaspura has come, actually Oriel Steen discovered it and has written a great deal about it, and he agrees with Kalhan when Kalhan describes Parihaspura. But later his son shifted the confluence to Shadipur, and this went out of, it lost significance. Then Harsha came and he looted all the silver and golden idols from there. Somebody else came, he took away all the material, made more other cities, and Parihaspura lost his grandeur. The other one was Martan. I cannot, most of you must have been to Martan. Martan must surely rate as one of the greatest structures of the world. I mean, even today, when you look at Martan, you are totally transformed to a different world altogether. The construction is so massive. The construction is so beautiful. The construction is geometrically so perfect. And it is at a Kareva. Mutton is a Tirathasthan of all Kashmiri Pandits, very important. That's where he actually selected the place. And from there, you could see Martan Port, you could see the whole range of Pir Panjal mountains. But as it usually happened after the Islamic hordes, the rabid Islamic hordes invaded Kashmir, and Sikandar Gutchikan's eyes fell on Martan, and you know what he did? He destroyed it for almost 2 months because he could not destroy it. So for 2 months, its base was dug and wood was placed there, and he burned the fires and ensured that the whole structure gets destroyed. But today also it is not destroyed. Its magnificence is, even in its ruins, its magnificence is just enormous. His Lalita Aditya's love for art, culture, literature, he brought some of the best literatures poets to Kashmir and ensured that they were given full protection and given the dignity, and they wrote many things. They got access to Sanskrit literature and our Hindu scriptures in Sanskrit. Needless to say that Lalitaditya has not been dealt with the kind of research, has not been dealt with that kind of respect and the hard work that needs to be put in to understand Lalitaditya. But I think things are changing. It is our responsibility also as Kashmiris to ensure that these iconic figures reach the world, and I'm very happy that Shreya Bhatta is also being talked about. But and we did talk about Acharya Abhinav Ghosh, but I think time has come. I mean, why can't we have a Lalitaditya seat or research somewhere in the university? After all, a man whose territory expanded from Iran in the east, and God is the present day Bengal and Assam in the east, Kalinga and Kauri in the south, till north of Tibet and China in the north. And then all these Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Bukhara, Khorasan, they were all his territories. One man in 37 years of his rule had brought Kashmir's glory to its pinnacle. And yet we don't know much about it. I think time has come that we discuss Lalitaditya in great detail, discusses architecture, discusses art, discusses what he did for culture. I forgot to tell you, he was the first one before Suya who understood that in Kashmir the flooding is because of silt getting deposited in the Jhelum in Baramulla. And he did a lot of work there. He ensured canals are digged, he made bunds, they dried up swamps. And when we talk about prosperity of the people, because the swamps dried up, because flooding stopped, because the canals were taken to places we did not receive much rainfall, that is how more area was available for cultivation of paddy and other food grains. And that is how the prosperity spread in Kashmir. I think I have introduced him to some extent, and that's it what I wanted to say. I will request Utpalji to please carry on from there and throw some light on this iconic and magnificent personality of our ancestor, of whom the whole world, in fact, whole of India should be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tej Tikku ji. It was a great exposition on Lalitaditya, and now I could find it out that you are not a colonel only, you are a professor also, because I think there is hardly anything extra which I can say about Lalitaditya. You have explained him in great detail. But let me at the outset thank and congratulate Sanjeevani Sharda Kendra Jammu, who they thought about this Triveni 3-day program. And first about on 12th is the Tyag Dedication Day on Shri Bhat, and 13th Sankalp. And this Sankalp this year and every year will make it sure that our generation next and we will say that we will go and live, not only say, but we will celebrate Navre in Kashmir. Then 14th, Shaurya Divas, Victory Day. And let me start from here that Al-Biruni, who was historian of 12th century, he mentions that Lalitaditya's Victory Day was celebrated on the 2nd of Chaitra Mas. That means the one day after Navre. It after 200 years, 400 years of Lalitaditya, Al-Biruni wrote it. That means till the Hindu rulers were in Kashmir, they were celebrating Lalita the Great, his victory. And his victory against the Turks. His victory, what he did it in Central Asia. He had a lot of victories, but the main victory, what they were celebrating, was against the Turks, against those who were from Central Asia. You have said that in detail. But what I want to tell you that what we have to understand about Lalta Aditya, and before Lalta Aditya, what we have to understand about Kashmir history. There was someone last year, he wrote on Raj Tarangni. He wrote all rubbish because he was a bureaucrat. He has not studied Kalhan and he doesn't know Sanskrit. And I think he has not studied this Kalhan's Rajtarani translation by Stein or by J.C. Dutt or by R.S. Pandit. If we have to study history of Kashmir, we must study basically first the sources. Which are the sources? The basic book. Why Nilmat Puran is most important? Nilmat Puran is most important because Kalhan himself says that, believe me, when I write this history, I have seen the sources. And he mentions that I have studied Nilmat Puran. Kalhan says 1000 years back that I have studied Nilmat Puran because it is the mine of information about our culture, about the origin of Kashmir. When we say Satisar, Jaludbau, and water bodies of Kashmir, it is Nilmat Puran. And here it is a wonderful translation by Ved Gai, which she did it in English as well as in Hindi. It is her PhD thesis. But we have three kinds of histories. One is about our origin and about our tradition and culture, that is Nilmat Puran. About our political history, that is Rajtarani, about kings. But if you want to understand the social history of Kashmir, if you want to know economic history of Kashmir, then you have to read Kshemendra. You have to read Kshemendra. Kshemendra has written 125 books. And Kalhan himself says, I have studied Kshemendra. And after studying Kshemendra, after studying Nilmat Puran, Mahabharata, Ramayana, I have not studied only the written sources. I have seen the archaeological, I have while I was writing Nilmat Puran. I have seen Prashasti Pattas. I have numismatic evidences. I have seen edicts. And at the end, he says, my father was a minister, and so I had access to the government records. So when Nilmat Puran, this Rajtarani was written, he collected all kind of sources to write Rajtarani. So somebody from Kashmir doesn't know anything about other sources. He is criticizing, and it is horrible. Now coming to the point of Lalta Aditya, I am very happy. Dr. Tej Tiku explained it very nicely. But I want to tell you that as he explained about Durlabha Vardhana, we had 2-3 great dynasties who ruled Kashmir. One was Karkota dynasty, and the other was Utpala dynasty, which was also known the Varmas, the Avanti Varma. They were from the Utpala dynasty. But coming to Lalta Aditya, one sentence one historian wrote is very, very important to understand. The best defense is offense. Tiku Saab just now said, we must not fight in our territory. We must fight in others' territory. And I think our present Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, has learned a lot from Lalta Aditya. Because if you see how he attacked Kannauj, why he attacked Yashovarman in Kannauj, the reason was that he was his friend. But there was, who will be the superior, who will be the super king? But when he reached near the borders of Kannauj, Yashovarman surrendered. He said, I will surrender. So that there was meeting between the two ministers, Minister of Lalta Aditya and Minister of Yashovarman. And when the treaty, the papers were just to sign, they saw the Yasho Varman came, his minister came with the paper where the first name was of Yasho Varman and second name was of Lalita Aditya. And then the minister told Lalita, this is not acceptable. So without any waiting for a minute, they said, just go and capture him. So they attacked Kannauj, and Kannauj became, what Kalam says, that Kannauj became the compound of Kashmir. Kannauj became compound of Kashmir. Kashmir is not integral part of India. India is the extension of Kashmir. Because if you study deeply what Kalam says in his Raja Tarangni, Lalita Aditya reached it up to Assam. And it was a beautiful sentence, the beautiful verse which Kalam uses. Kalam says that he had a large number of elephants in the army. And these elephants, when they saw their own land and they wanted to introduce his master, so they ran quickly. According to Kalhana's Raja Tarangni, he captured Assam, then he went to Orissa, and after Orissa, he went to Karnataka. And he has mentioned the names of those districts. We call them in history as 7 Konkans. He went to capture 7 Konkans. So Lalita Aditya, one of the greatest kings, went up to the south of India. And then it is very interesting. We know that South Indians, it's a great tradition that they say Namaste, Sharde, and when they have this Mekhla or Yagnopavit, they walked 7 steps towards Kashmir. And everywhere, wherever Lalita Aditya went, he was instructing them that they have to have one tradition from Kashmir. They will have to have हमारे इलाके को नमस्ते बोलकर ही सुबह उठना, तब जाके काम होगा, सल्यूट मार लेना. It was his way of doing things. He was a great administrator. He was not only a great warrior and military strategician. And one thing about his military, he had a mountain brigade. They were very much well versed with mountain warfare. And Kashmir, in that sense, had a great mountain warfare training centers. And you will be surprised that some 3-4 ladies were military generals. Ladies were leading the army for fighting. And it was because of that, after 400 years of Lalita Aditya, Deda's grandson, Deda and his grandson, Sangram Raja, he defeated this Mahmud of Ghaznavi 2 times. When I say that he was a great administrator and he understood every trick of the trade, he was not, once he was 7.5 years out of Kashmir. Can you imagine, king and the administration going on nicely, 7.5 years. What he did, he asked his prime minister, what is happening in Kashmir? I heard some problem is there. He said, yeah, some Dhamars and some people are creating trouble. He said, what's the problem? What you have done? Have you done something which created some, the problem was there? Problem is there. He said, prime minister said, no, there is enough food. I have kept enough food in all the villages, every family for 2 years. Enough money to purchase. They are well off. Lalita Aditya said, this is the biggest mistake you have done. Don't keep them enough food. Keep them food for only 1 year or less than 1 year. When you have extra and nothing to do, you will start conspiracy. And so what is happening in Kashmir, you all know that when you have enough, you play politics. You start a rebellion. You start different type of games against the nation or against the government, against the you want to do something. So Lalita Aditya made every trick of the trade in administration. And one important sentence I will repeat is that the downfall of Hindu empire in northern India is the absence of Karkota dynasty from Kashmir. It's very, very important to understand on historical perspective that Lalita Aditya and Karkotas were so powerful that from Arabs to Turks, others were not able to come. Even the Chinese had a very wonderful friendship. And I may tell you, it will be surprising for today's generation that once there was an there in Chinese sources, because when Durlavardhan was there, Okang, Hyun Song had visited, and Hyun Song lived 2 years in Kashmir during Durlavardhan's time, during the Karkota's time. And then Okang has written, Okang was a great traveler, and Taranath from Tibet was a great traveler. They have mentioned about Lalita Aditya. And so what had happened, that there was a kind of a treaty to keep these Arabs and Turks away. They had offered, Lalita Aditya had offered Chinese that 200,000 your army, 200,000 our army can join together to take care of all these people. And there was a place, Mahapadma Lake, on the banks of river, on the banks of this lake, this army could stay. But that didn't work later on, because it would be very difficult, so much of Chinese to come this side. But China and India at that time had a very, very good relation. But there were some trouble in Darjistan, and there was a trouble, they want to capture of the Baltistan, and so many stories are there. There are enormous stories about Lalita Aditya, and there are so many stories about what he did. And sometimes Kalhan says that Lalita Aditya had supernatural powers because he was blessed by Chakrishwari. He was blessed by different goddesses. The greatest architecture, the greatest builder, Lalita Aditya, not only this Parihaspur, as Tiku Sahab has mentioned, but the first sun temple, the first sun temple of Indian subcontinent was Martanda temple. And Kalhan mentions there is a Martanda temple, which is still existing here. He made within the 3 kilometers of area this Martanda, and how it was destroyed. If you read Lawrence, for the first time, gunpowder was used. Gunpowder was used to destroy Martanda temple. Gunpowder was used, and Tiku Sahab, you said 2 months. It was 6 months where they put the grass so that the whole structure will fall, and not only fall but melt. It is shadow. Martanda temple shadow was up to 2 kilometers. So the Parihaspur, they broke, and now do you know what is the name of Parihaspur? What the locals call it? Kanshahar, because Kanya in Kashmiri is stone, and so they broke it. They broke every part of Parihaspur. But we are determined to make another Parihaspur. So I think we have to learn a lot from Lalita Aditya, that we don't wait that the enemy will come to our place and our enemy will start some trouble, then we will react. I think we best defense is the best offense. And from this year, let us celebrate victory and understand and also learn what Lalita Aditya and the Karkota dynasty did for Kashmir and did for rest of India and for our nation to save our Hindu culture and civilization. We will celebrate it every year. And one more thing I have to, I just missed that Lalita Aditya's name was Shri Partap. When he had a victory of Kanauj, golden coins were made, and in the golden coins, when these were found in Faizabad and recently in Kanauj and other places, these golden coins were Shri Partap Lalita Aditya. So we can call him Shri Partap Lalita Aditya with this. Dhanyavad. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Utpalji, for an extremely insightful information about Lalita Aditya. And you've been not only dealing with books of great history of Kashmir, but you've been a scholar also of these books. And therefore, I'm not surprised that you said certain things which most of us perhaps had overlooked or did not know. And surely it will help us develop a bigger, better, and more important insight about the great emperor, soldier, statesman, Lalita Aditya. Thank you very much. I will now invite Ajay ji, who has very patiently heard the two of us for a long time. And Ajay ji, sorry for that, but the stage is now yours. Please go ahead.
Namaskar and thank you, Colonel Saab. To begin with, I must say, Navre Posht to all those who are in the panel and who are listening to this program, beautiful program. Speaking after scholar soldier and a scholar activist is not an easy thing. Everything has almost been said here. But still, I will try to present Lalita Aditya the manner I saw him, or I visualize about his greatness and his persona. I must first recall once Mark Twain has said that the effect of education are not as sudden as a massacre, but they are far more lasting. This is what has happened to us. Not only in Kashmir, but in entire India, the history writing has been biased in favor of invaders, unfortunately. And leftists have done it. Actually, what they did was brutalize the real history of India in every sense of the word.
Ajay, can I briefly, you're not as audible as the rest of us were. There is a problem. Thoda sa, please.
I don't, is it better now?
No, but I
can hear you.
Yes,
Is it better now?
Yes.
It is fine.
So, that is one I wanted to tell you, that the history writing has been biased in favor of invaders, and unfortunately by our own people who thought that they were professional historians, but they were exposed by what have been termed as intellectual Kshatriyas of India, like Ram Swarup ji and Sitaram Goyal ji, who in 1991 wrote a letter to Romila Thapar because they were presenting to the world that not only Islamic invaders, but Hindus also have destroyed Buddhist stupas and their temples, etc. So Sitaram Goyalji wrote to Romila Thapar saying that what we have written is about what has been said by Muslim scholars only. We have mentioned date and their sources. Please let you also present to the world those places where Hindus have done anything to the Buddhist temples. But the reply never came. Similarly, in 2010, one V. Lakshmi Kantham, the director of Florida Institute of Technology, came to Vishakhapatnam. He was speaking on one program of Gayatri Pragya Parivar. He talked about the distortions of the history in India. He mentioned two incidents specifically of Adi Shankara and Buddha, the time of Buddhas. And he said that how history of India was shortened by almost 1200 years because of these leftists. This is what has been going on in Kashmir also, and is still going on there. It has been done in the past. Utpalji was mentioning some bureaucrat turned historian. Journalist turned historian is also there, who is saying that Sikandar Butshikan did not do what has been attributed to him, ignoring all the historic facts. But time has changed. Now the Indian nation, the people of India are understanding this fraud, what was being played here. That has happened in Kashmir also. So we see that some literature has now started coming up on Lalitaditya also, and other aspects of Kashmir. Recently, in 2019, one Sanjay Sonwani, he had earlier written the book Lalita on Lalitaditya in Marathi, that was translated by Prashant Kanitkar in 2019 into English, a beautiful work on this subject. There are others also. It started actually with Narendra Sehgalji, who wrote The Converted Kashmir in 1991-92, where the pre-Islamic past of Kashmir was recollected and tried to present to the world. When we speak of Lalitaditya, besides those aspects which were mentioned earlier by Colonel Teji and Utpalji, I would like to highlight certain areas. One, which as an activist of the present day times, I would like that people must understand and try to find out way forward in this context. Kashmir society at that time was also divided into different sections. As was mentioned by Damras, there were Ekangis, there were Tantranas, there were Lavanyas. They were not always at peace with each other. But it was the ability of Lalitaditya that he gained the trust of all these. It was his ability. And once society came as one under his leadership, Kashmir did wonders. It expanded its empire to those areas where from trouble was coming. Earlier also, this Karakota dynasty, even at the time of when Muhammad bin Qasim attacked and Sindh and Raja Dahir was killed, his son ran away. No one was daring to give him refuge. It was only the king of Kashmir who allowed him to stay there. And in due time, he returned back. So my first point to highlight is that Lalitaditya's ability in his leadership, like the present day Prime Minister of our great country, is that he transcended the limited loyalties and made people understand that if we stand together and if we join hands, nipping the narrow divisions in the bud, we can achieve far more better things and all of us will benefit together. So that is one aspect. Second, which I think almost, I have seen that it is almost rare quality, that he was not only able to manage differences within the society in Kashmir, he also, as Teji earlier mentioned also, he also recruited people from other countries or other races also, from Tibetans, from Chinese, from Turks, and he was also able to gain their loyalties. And that is how he managed to have such an empire and such a victorious army, and was able to defend the northern borders of India at a time when invasions were so frequent and were different from the way war was fought in this part of the world. It was not a dharma yudh, it was total lawless or moral, immoral way of fighting, which was being pushed to this. Raja Dahir's killing and kidnapping of his daughters was seen first time by Indian people, that an invading army can do what was done to these princesses. That alarmed all these forces, and there was an alliance right from Kashmir to Baparawal of Mewar and all that. They fought together and tried to stop invading armies, invading these people. And that is how, if first attack on India in Sindh was in 712, around that time, it took almost 400 to 500 years for invaders to reach Delhi. That is the result of all these alliances, all this resistance which was put forward by people, in which Kashmiri King Lalitaditya played a magnificent role, a leading role, and was able to take the borders, as was rightly pointed out, that he did not wait for terrorists to step in. He struck them at their base and ensured that peace is propagated everywhere. This is also indicated by, as was mentioned by Utpal ji, that when Hyun Sung came to Kashmir, he was received by the king's people at borders. That means they were knowing that someone, an important person like a traveler is coming. So this was the set of administration which they were putting in. Again, it provides to us the indication of how brilliant these things were at that particular time. Another thing which we all must be knowing, but I would like to highlight it also. I don't know if any other place we have seen that a victorious king after war demands from the losing king scholars. When Lalitaditya defeated Yashovarman, what he was taking from there was scholars like Atri Gupta. It was the family of Atri Gupta, which later on, after few generations, produced great scholars like Acharya Abhinav Gupta. So, so immense was his love for scholarship and learning and dharmic, these things, that he didn't take anything from losing king, but scholars of that, and the renowned scholars. So Lalitaditya's greatness is not only that he was a conqueror. In fact, Sanjay Nonwane and others have mentioned him that his history is the history of Asia, because the territory which he ruled was not limited to traditional land called India. Beyond that also, so his rule is able to tell us about all the adjoining areas. It was the Silk route, it was the trading route, the most important route, and we can identify it with present days Indian Ocean Ridge type of activity. Lalitaditya was conscious of this route, and he was able to understand its importance and made other kings and other rulers important to make it terror-free, make it looters-free, and ensure that peaceful trade is happening all over this route. So this is another aspect. Going for this administration in Kashmir, as was done by that, floods were frequently there, and Lalitaditya was able to ensure that this is reduced to greater extent, as was the technology available there. He was also a great learner, because at that time it is told that I am not a scholar, and I also do not mind for minor things if there some, because some people are saying that Kalana has exaggerated his account. Maybe, I don't know. But then did present governments or the present time people invest something in research of that area. In fact, it has been suppressed in not only one way, in more than one ways. The information has been suppressed. We never knew about Lalita Aditi in schools. We never knew about Lalita Aditi in any social interaction. In fact, some things which were known to people in 60s were also erased from the history books, and then people must here be knowing about the official anthem of Kashmir University, which was written by Professor Rahman Rahi. Abhinav Gupta is being mentioned there as ocean of knowledge. But this ocean of knowledge being celebrated in Kashmir is a rare thing. Nobody knows, present day generation or the students don't know about Abhinav Gupta, who he was termed as an ocean of knowledge. Similarly, Lalita Aditya, the conqueror of, great conqueror, the Alexander of India, Alexander of Asia, uh, nothing has been told to people of Jammu and Kashmir or the India about them. And this was done deliberately over a period of time. Now that the times have changed, and we are able to see to it that what has been, and it is not with the Lalita Aditya only, other aspects of Kashmir, Indian history has also been, so the struggle that Indians put against invaders has not been produced properly. So the people from Kashmir to present the past in a manner, because it is past which tries to tell us about the people, about the identities, and about the way we behave. There has hardly changed anything, minor changes because of the modernization, so-called modernization, and the advancement in technologies. Otherwise, the basic nature of the people is same. So how to deal with it, and how to find out the ways, and how to prosper together, this is not happening right now. The narrow visions of people is being taught in a manner as if anything other than that is not correct. We have seen a lot of exposures these days being done by the people who are learning it. In Kashmir also, Lalita Aditya tells us that irrespective of faith, which were available at that time, whether it was Buddhas, Bodhs, Vaishnavas, Shaivas, ruler was uh, fair to all of them, which is not the case at present. The rulers in Kashmir for last 70 years were not fair to all. So it is our responsibility to ensure that enough of research is done, and to ensure that these names come to, and present generation of future generations know about him and feel pride about him. If GA Sindh movement can be possible in Pakistan, if they can celebrate Raja Dahir Day in Sindh, what is harm in celebrating Lalita Aditya Day in Kashmir? So it is our responsibility to tell. That is how I understand it. And as Utpalji mentioned, it is very nice, and it is very good thing to see that Sanjeevani Sharda Kendra, under the leadership of Sanjeevani Sharda Kendra, entire community has come together to celebrate this Triveni Navre Mahotsav. We will be celebrating Shreya Bhatt. It hardly matters. I again say, as an activist, it does not matter to me whether he was a Shri Bhatta or a Sri Bhatta, because both are even present day. Shridarju and Sri Kak, etc., are the still names present. He could be anything. Till the time he is the real hero, the acts which he did are actual, are based on the facts, and what he achieved was really achieved on ground in those times. We need to celebrate that. We need to present to them, to the world. Yes, scholars must sit together and say what is actually right. In fact, I must also mention here that late Padma Shri Motilal Sakiji in his Agar Neb also mentioned that need to work forward on these historic documents is immense. But problem is that government has not been coming forward. So it is also time to impress upon the government to ensure that the history of Kashmir is not only preserved as it is, the reunions are preserved. It is, we all know, and I must also mention that here, these reunions are now being attended to. Otherwise, what was happening there? We remember film Haider, how this very important temple of Martand was shown in that picture, and how it was depicted in that picture, in that Bollywood movie. That is the time of brutalization of history, and we need not only to stop it, but say start the course of correcting it, putting facts in front of the world, and teaching people, teaching our next generations that what has been our actual history, how our ancestors have behaved in past, and how great they were. The Kashmir, the brand, so-called brand, which is being marketed by vested interests these days, was actually built by sweat and blood of toiling of our ancestors, who worked so hard. The ruins themselves reveal this story, and it is very heartening to see that the success is also visible. The initial successes, because when you mention it to anybody, he feels so proud, including irrespective of faiths. I am telling you that irrespective of religious faith, when anybody from Kashmir also learns about this thing, about these heroes, be that Abhinav Gupta, be that Shrubhatha, or be that Lalita Aditya, they feel that yes, we must be proud of them, and we must adapt them as our own. So I think it is time for us to pull our socks and ensure that the priorities are set in a proper manner, and society also owns up the responsibility. What is its responsibility? Lalita Aditya also means Lalita Aditya. Aditya means Surya. And sun does not discriminate. Lalita Aditya also did not discriminate. Kashmiri rulers did not, our scholarship did not, Kashmir Shaivism does not discriminate. So it is only time that we recognize ourselves and tell people who actually we are, whose progenies we have been. This I will conclude with saying that, yeah, we have to play the role of Jambavana, who has to tell Hanumana that who actually he is. It is only after Jambavana tells him that Hanumana crosses ocean and brings information about Sita to Sri Rama. Thank you. Namaskar.
Yes. Go ahead,
नहीं,
Utpal.
आप पहले थैंक्स कीजिए ना, इनको थैंक्स किया उसके बाद
Okay. First of all, Ajay ji, I will just, we know very well what is being done with the history of Kashmir. Not only history of Kashmir, what has been going on with the history of India. How the left liberal Marxists have completely taken over the academia, the media, the film world, and how history is being projected in a manner that that India was not a Sone ki Chidya at all, and India was just some kind of a rabble rousing nation which people came and trampled upon. About Kashmir also, if Laldet can be appropriated by these forces, so who can be left? You can imagine. I just have to, before I asked Utpalji to intervene because he wants to input, I will just read out a passage from my own book which has not been contradicted by anybody till now because it is in print for the last 10 years. And I quote, Sultan Sikandar was a religious fanatic who would put even the worst bigot to shame. Muslim historian Hassan describes that Sikandar let loose a reign of terror, an orgy of violence and cruelty on Hindus, with the sole aim of converting them to Islam. All their temples in the cities, towns, and villages were desecrated, and idols within those temples, creation of unparalleled workmanship, vandalized and destroyed. The material collected from these temples was used to construct khankas. And who was Hassan? Hassan, whose actual name was Pir Ghulam Hassan Kuihami. Kuihami because he belonged to village Kuihum. Kuihum is a combination of two words, two Sanskrit words, Krish plus Ashrama, which is present-day Bandipur. Hassan wrote Tehreek-e-Kashmir in Farsi in 3 volumes in circa 1889. After being edited by Maulvi Ibrahim of Khanyar, Srinagar, it was published by Jammu and Kashmir Cultural Academy in Farsi in 3 volumes. The book, whose volume 2 is political history and is considered most authentic, has not been translated either into Urdu or into English. So that's just about sums up the historical bias, not just the violence that was perpetrated on us, but the continuous genocide of even of our history. And I think time has come to set things right. Utpalji, you wanted to say something before I asked you. Ajayji, thank you so much, because you gave a perspective which was totally different. And in the context of our study of Lalitataditya, there are so many issues that will crop up. It is not just merely studying a personality, I would feel, all his or what he did and what we should learn, but what he came to represent and what was destroyed in the process that he represented, that was destroyed. Why was that destroyed? We all know what is the reason behind it. Part of it I read here, and bulk of it you covered in your presentation. Thank you so much, Ajayji, for being so forthright with your views. Thanks a lot. Utpalji, you wanted to say something before I invite Dr. Surinder?
History, what is history? History is inquiry into past. So we have to inquire, and we have to tell what happened not only in ancient Kashmir. We have to tell our children in Kashmir what our forefathers or what the invaders did it in Kashmir. So it is very important to read history. What Napoleon says at the deathbed: read history, my sons, because it is the only philosophy. History is the only philosophy. You have to read history so that a vibrant civilization and culture is alive. What I wanted to tell you, Tiku Sahab, that people around India know much about Lalitataditya because of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Reason is Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh has Pratah Sumran. They make the Pratah Sumran Stuti. Every great man's name is to be recited early in the morning, all over India, all over world. And there is a name, Lalitataditya Udbala. Lalitataditya in RSS is understood and explained that he is the Pratah Sumrani. Pratah Sumrani, Pratah mein jisko roz sumran karna chahiye, wo Lalitataditya hai. Surinder ji.
Thank you, Utpalji. We will reach our last speaker on the program. I think we have overshot also because we got connected late, and technical issues you crop up. We can easily shift the blame to Corona even in this case. So I'm sure the audience will forgive us. Dr. Surinder Kaur, please, it's your turn to now enlighten us.
हाँ नमस्कार मारा सायदनी तो सायदनी नवरे पोस्ट तो बुचुस कशर पर बोलान so that मैं वनन के है तो चुन था कशर बोलान चुन था बोलन के है तो चुक civilizations पर काट करान मगर ऐसी यम कार्यक्रम करान वेबिनार हिंदी पढ़ या अंग्रेज़ी पढ़ एमकिन ताकि यस्तिस साइन culture चीज़ यस्तिस साइन civilization चु या इज़न history च तो बे इज़न ऐसी दगाव सो कैसे सारनी इंडियास में योत न के मगर इंटरनेशनली कैसे वातन इसलिए कैसे कि अगर इस कशर पर ठीक काट करो ये रोज़ बड़ा लिमिटेड एस 5 months मगर ये है कि नेबर हुए थे तेरे चे तम खतर एस फुट नोट तैयार करूँ ट्रांसलेशन करते इसलिए कि सारनी मैं फीचर्स पर मंगा कि अगर इमन थोड़ा ठेस पहुँच के कशर पर क्या चुस न बकात करान अमुक रीजन चु ये है जैसे कि माननीय तिकू साहब जो कि एक वरिष्ठ नेता भी हैं, स्कॉलर भी हैं, सोल्जर भी हैं, इतना कंट्रीब्यूशन किया है। उत्पल जी जो कि बहुत ही स्कॉलर हैं, एक्टिविस्ट रहे हैं, पूरा अपना जीवन कम्युनिटी एक्टिविज्म में दिया है। और अजय भारती जी, सुरेंद्र अंबरदार जी जो कि हमारे समाज के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैं और ग्राउंड जीरो पे काम करते आ रहे हैं दशकों से। इनके बीच में मैं एक बहुत ही साधारण, बहुत ही छोटा हूँ, और आज सम्राट ललितादित्य के बारे में इन विद्वानों द्वारा जो हमें ज्ञान प्राप्त हुआ, मुझे भी काफी ज्ञान प्राप्त हुआ, ये एक ग्लोबल कश्मीरी पंडित डायस्पोरा की ये जो कड़ी है, ये इसी पे कंसंट्रेट कर रहा था, जो कि संजीवनी शारदा केंद्र द्वारा आयोजित किया जा रहा है। हमारा नवरे महोत्सव 3 दिनों का कार्यक्रम, जो कि कल से अप्रैल 12, 13 और 14 को सेलिब्रेट किया जाएगा पूरे ग्लोबल लेवल पे, ये उसी के सपोर्ट में एक हमारी तरफ से कड़ी थी। इसका ये भी एक मैसेज था कि हमारी जो कम्युनिटी है, ये केवल एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के दायरे में नहीं रहनी चाहिए, चाहे वो संजीवनी शारदा केंद्र करे, चाहे ऑल इंडिया कश्मीरी समाज करे, चाहे जम्मू कश्मीर विचार मंच करे, ये सारा कम्युनिटी है। और ग्लोबल कश्मीरी पंडित डायस्पोरा का यही उद्देश्य है कि सारी कम्युनिटी पूरे विश्व भर में एक लेवल पे पूरे कम्युनिटी के योगदान के लिए काम करे। ये एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल है कि किस तरह से संजीवनी शारदा केंद्र ने ये आयोजित किया कार्यक्रम, किस तरह से हम सभी लोग इसमें जुड़े, सभी लोग जुड़ रहे हैं। तो मेरी सबों से यही अपील है कि आप सभी लोग, आप लोगों ने देखा हमारा सिविलाइजेशन कितना रिच है, हमारा कल्चर कितना रिच है, हमारे कितने एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, जो कि हमको इसको आगे बढ़ाना है, हमको ये पूरे समाज को आगे बढ़ाना है। हमें हमें किसी चीज की कमी नहीं है, हमें कमी है खाली एक, सभी एकजुट होके काम करें। जीके पीढ़ी का इन्वेस्टमेंट कम्युनिटी है, जीके पीढ़ी का इन्वेस्टमेंट पूरा समाज है, और इस समाज को आगे बढ़ाना है। और इसी आयोजन में हम सबको बढ़ चढ़ के हिस्सा लेना है। संजीवनी शारदा केंद्र द्वारा जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस आए हैं, उसके हिसाब से 12 अप्रैल को, जो कि श्री भट्ट जयंती के स्मरण में मनाया जा रहा है, उसके बारे में सभी लोग, बच्चे खास तौर पे, जो भी हमारे युवा पीढ़ी के नौजवान हैं 35 वर्ष तक के आयु तक, वो अपने वीडियो बनाएं, वो ऐसे लिखें श्री भट्ट कौन थे, उनका क्या योगदान था, और वो संजीवनी शारदा केंद्र को भेजें। इसी तरह से 13 अप्रैल को हमारा नवरे कार्यक्रम है, हमारे नए वर्ष का शुरुआत है। इसमें भी संजीवनी शारदा केंद्र के माध्यम से जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस आई हैं कि आप जब अपने थाली का चेहरा देखेंगे, या जो आप अपने फैमिलीज के साथ जो भी वीडियोस हैं, वो पूरे सोशल मीडिया पे डालें, संजीवनी शारदा केंद्र को भेजें। और इसी प्रकार से 14 अप्रैल, जो कि सम्राट ललितादित्य के शौर्य दिवस के रूप से मनाया जा रहा है, इसके बारे में राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के सर संचालक मोहन भागवत जी हमारे समाज को संबोधित करेंगे। इसका हिस्सा बने। हमें ये खबर मिली है कि माननीय सर संचालक जी डॉक्टर मोहन भागवत जी अस्वस्थ हैं, अस्पताल में हैं। हमारा पूरा समाज, हमारा पूरा समुदाय प्रार्थना कर रहा है कि वो जल्द से जल्द ठीक हो जाए। उनका स्वास्थ्य सबसे बड़ा प्रायोरिटी है। हमको वो संबोधित करेंगे, पहले वो अपने स्वास्थ्य पे ध्यान दें, वो किसी और दिन भी हो सकता है। तो हम ये पूरी कामना करते हैं कि वो स्वस्थ रहें, जल्दी अस्पताल से उनका डिस्चार्ज हो जाए। जो त्याग और समर्पण का वो उदाहरण है। जब भी कभी समय मिले, हमको उससे एनर्जाइज करें। तो इस अपील से मैं सभी लोगों का, सभी ऑडियंस का धन्यवाद देता हूँ। टीपू साहब का भी धन्यवाद, उत्पल जी का भी, अजय भारती जी का भी, जिनने इतना अपना बहुमूल्य समय निकाला, और ऑडियंस ने भी, जो भी इतने अपना कीमती समय इस कार्यक्रम के साथ दिया। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
सुरेंद्र जी, बस एक छोटी सी बात मैं
जी,
कहना
जी,
चाहता हूँ, जो आपने डॉक्टर भागवत जी के बारे में कहा। मैं समाज और सब लोगों को जो इस कार्यक्रम में जुड़े हैं, इतना निवेदन करना चाहता हूँ कि संघ संगठन है, इसमें संघ के प्रमुख हो या कोई और हो, जो वो बात करेंगे वो पूरा संघ की तरफ से होता है। हमको विश्वास होना चाहिए कि वहां पर बैठे हुए लोग, डॉक्टर मोहन भागवत जी पूजनीय सरसंघचालक जी के स्वास्थ्य के बारे में वो जो भी अप्रोप्रिएट फैसला लेंगे वो सही होगा, और वो अगर बोल सकते हैं तो निश्चित रूप से बोलेंगे, नहीं तो उनका संदेश कोई और सुनाएंगे। जो भी सुनाएंगे वो हमको यही मानना चाहिए कि डॉक्टर मोहन भागवत जी पूजनीय सरसंघचालक जी बोल रहे हैं।
थैंक यू अजय भारती जी फॉर दिस क्लैरिफिकेशन। सो कंक्लूडिंग में यही मैं आप सबों से निवेदन करूंगा, ये वन बकशर पर बच्चे शायद नहीं तो गुल्ज कंडित गुजारिश करान कि तो ही सारी इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे वारिया काम करमज, वारिया जबरदस्त काम करमज, ग्रुपस केंचो ग्रुपो वारिया जान काम करमज, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वारिया जान काम करमज। अस ब्रोट पकुन सु हेको अस इकवटे पकित, चाहे बह अमेरिका मन छुस, चाहे कह जर्मनी मन छु, कह जमिस मन छु, चाहे जयपुरस मन छु, चाहे दिल्लीस मन छु, अस सारनी अस लकुट समाज, अस सारनी कोशिश करें कि सारी समो अक्सी रज करो था। यही गुजारिश करो बह हर कंस, क्या अस मन के नफर पन्नी यम जन वन अस ऑलरेडी डिवाइडेड कम्युनिटी मन बे डिवीजन करान, हे यम नेबरिम, यह अमेरिकास मज बट, यह लंडनस मज बट, यह what has happened to our intellectual capacity? As क्या दलील गमस? Is this what our past has been? Where is the wisdom? And this is some bullies have gotten let loose, and they have degraded the image of the community. And this is not the image of the community. Our community is wise. Our people are wise. This is our rich ancestry. I will request them to please don't do this damage to the community. With that words, back to you, Tiku Saab. Namaskar and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. And firstly, I think undoubtedly it's a very brilliant initiative by Sanjeevani Sharda Kendra. It is so innovative actually that a large number of us were taken by totally by surprise. A pleasant surprise, in fact, that it is being organized in this manner, and I think only some brilliant people working in Sanjeevani Sharda Kendra would have thought about it, and it's not. I think it's not a joke actually. I think it's a very, very big thing that Dr. Mohan Bhagwat ji, the Satsangchalak ji, decided to address the community. I have, from the very first day when I read this, I was totally amazed. I mean, he is not an ordinary person. He is one of the icons of the country, and he decides to speak to a community. I agree that many RSS functionaries have spoken to us, and individually they have called us, and they have spoken a small group. But on our Navre, Pujniya Satsangchalak ji is going to address the community. It has tremendous significance. It's not an ordinary thing. And those people who think that it is just any other thing, I think they need to rethink and recalibrate their thinking. So I think Sanjeevani Sharda deserves huge applause, and he deserves huge thanks for organizing this. We hope that he is able to speak to us. I thank each one of you. Yes, you wanted to say something, Sundarji?
Yeah, just one thing. There are many people, even GKPDS mutlak Vananch problem, whatever it is, leaving that aside. Magar, see, our effort is to bring all these wise people who have remained hidden. Bosus Raat Bozan from our Nari Shakti, the seminar. Sushma Jattu ji, I have never heard of it. Sorry, Sushma ji, I have never heard about it. Magar mete ho gosh, such fantastic, phenomenal, knowledgeable people speaking in very common language. This is phenomenal. That is Minakshi Kilamji, Sheetal Rana ji. So this is what GKPD is. Bring all community. Use the as talent should. We have to bring that out. And that is where everybody has to become empowered to take the community to the next level. This will continue. And we need all your support. We need all your blessings to move forward. Back to you.
Thank you, all of you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen who are watching us. I hope we were able to, at least to a small microscopic level, able to project the great emperor, our great ancestor, the great iconic Indian and great Kashmiri to the international audience. Thank you very much.